have to say, I think most people here were absolutely shocked that you lost the case.
Yeah, as I said outside the court in Los Angeles, you know, I respected the jury verdict. Not that I really accepted it, but, you know, life goes on.
I mean, it's an extraordinary thing, Vern, where you perform an act of real heroism in helping to save these kids against all the odds from this appalling situation they were in. And then a billionaire goes on social media and brands you a paedophile. I mean, I can't think of anything worse, frankly, or a bigger slap in the face to someone who was doing what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he could have called me anything else but that.
Right.
You know?
It's not the worst thing you can call somebody.
Exactly, yeah.
Mark Stevens, you're a top lawyer. You must have, I would imagine...
How did I lose the case, is what you're going to ask.
Yes, I'm really fascinated why this case didn't succeed. I was expecting it to be a judgment in your favour. I presume you were too. What happened?
Well, what happened was that the jury misunderstood the law. They misapplied the law to the facts. So they got asked 5 questions. The first question was, is it defamatory? Tick, yes, it was defamatory. Secondly, had it been published to other people? Answer, tick, yes, it had been. And the third question was, did the tweet refer to Vern Unsworth? No. End of case.
Why not?
Well, the reason was that they took that question over literally. They said to themselves, was Vernon's name in the tweet? And, of course, it wasn't. He was referred to, he was identifiable, and, of course, you as experienced journalists will know that if you are identifiable, then in those circumstances, that's as good as having your name in the tweet. And, of course, Vernon's not on Twitter. He only knew about it because people told him about it.
And
so he was clearly identified.
And what was that moment like when you were first? Because I think you were asked by an Australian film crew, weren't you, a question about it. And it was a couple of days after he'd tweeted. It must have come as a huge shock.
Yeah,
and worse, actually.
Yeah,
worse than a shock.
It was on the 15th of July, and Tick and myself were up there for a celebration. She's my partner. We were up there for a celebration, and basically these Australian journalists they crowded me into a corner, and I just answered it as it was. You know, I just said it's not finished.
The interesting thing about this has all happened because basically Elon Musk took offence at you dismissing his submarine bid to try and be the hero in all this. And, you know, quite rightly, frankly, because guys were doing a great job without any of his help. And it looked like he was trying to muscle his way in and get publicity out of it, it seemed to me. You said it's totally impractical. It worked in a pool, a Musk's submarine, but in the cave it would have been far too dangerous. You then flippantly told a reporter from CNN Musk could stick his submarine where it hurts. And you said later that you were a blunt northern lad and said the first thing that came to mind, my comments weren't aimed at Musk, but at the sub. Now, all right, I can see why Musk might have taken offence at what you said. It's just the fact that he called you a pedo. The moment he did it, I was like, wow. Twitter has rules about this. They suspend people, they ban people. And again, I come back to, I don't think there's anything worse you can call somebody. Well, if they're not a paedophile, then a paedophile.
He basically, he treated it as an insult. An insult's are basically an instant reaction, you know, like you and me here this morning. But he went out and researched before he sent those tweets. So he tried to research me, and at the time, although I was in the spotlight, there was nothing that you could Google that would come up with me, Vern Unsworth. Then he Googled Chiang Rai, scrolled through a few pages, realised that Chiang Rai had a reputation for child sex trafficking, which, you know, it's not as bad as it seems, but you don't see it happening. And then he put the 3 together: sus, suspicious, old guy in Thailand, pedo. So it wasn't an instant reaction.
It got worse than that, though, because he then said, you know, bet your $9 it's true, so he had no evidence of it. And then he said, it goaded him and said, don't you think it's strange he hasn't sued me? So it's sue or true.
It's true.
And so we have to sue. And worse than that, he then brought all the power that a bullying billionaire can and employed a private detective from the United Kingdom who's a former con. He's been in jail for fraud. He's back in jail as we speak today, to go and dig up dirt on Vern, to go through his bins, to go through...
How much has this cost you to do this? Financially, has it cost you money?
No, not.
It's cost him money in terms of him having to go to America and fly back to the board.
I would say
but the
bigger
lawyers have done it
cost-
no win, no fee.
I would
Right.
say the bigger cost, Vern, just from the look on your face, is an emotional one.
Yeah.
And reputational.
Yeah. Yeah.
It hurt you.
Humiliated, dirted, ashamed.
I mean, it's very... I really feel for you. It's such a... I can't think of a more despicable thing to call as you put it, a proud northern man, than to call him a pedo and then to be given a sanction by a court to carry on doing that if he wants to, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, he set out to destroy me. I mean, psychologically, I'm probably a tough guy.
Yeah.
Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. But, even some of the stuff that came out of the private investigator's report was disgusting. Even referred to me as a sex-pat whoremonger.
And ultimately, Vern, let's remind people what you were doing when this attack was made. You were saving kids from death in a cave. I mean, you were one of the key people in that rescue operation. So it's not like you were just some random person he picked on. You were a genuine hero.
You've been honoured with an MBE.
He basically said he thought I was a random guy trying to, take the spotlight, not realising that I'd literally been 2 days off a 17-day rescue, so I wasn't probably looking my best.
Let me ask you, Vern, about the rescue, because it can get overshadowed when there's something happens.
Yeah.
We don't want people to be Googling you and see pedo trial. I would like them to Google you and see hero who saved kids in cave. Just to go back to that rescue mission, obviously a horrendously difficult operation to get those kids out. Were there moments during that period that you thought we're going to lose them?
There was never any guarantees that we'd get all of them out alive. There was obviously a high risk. I'm hugely proud of what we achieved. I think Britain can be proud of what the Brits achieved, and that included the British Cave Rescue Council, who did an enormous amount of work behind the scenes. Once Rick and John found the children on the 2nd of July, obviously everybody was over the moon, except us, because we realised, what the situation was, and we sort of said, I'll put it politely, how are we going to get these kids out?
Because finding them alive was one thing, getting them out alive was quite the challenge.
When you did get them out, Vern, what was that moment like for you? When they all came out alive?
Good feeling.
I mean, it doesn't get better, does it?
No.
See all those kids running out alive.
Just for the parents, really. They got their children back. Yeah. Although they didn't really see them for they couldn't cuddle them or do whatever for a number of days because they were in isolation in hospital.
Because they were vulnerable,
they're fantastic. They've grown
Vern
up.
still sees them.
I still see them.
Because they live near where he stays in Thailand.
Amazing. And what is their reaction when they see you?
We're all sort of like good buddies, Well,
they must be incredibly grateful, aren't they? Do they realise what happened?
Yeah, they do, and we're friends basically, and we've got respect for each other. They understand what happened. I mean, it's the dive out. Because of the way they were sedated, they won't remember anything about it anyway.
No.
So they've got no
like
bad
a dream.
Well, Vern,
dreams.
look, we wanted to get you in to say you're a hero, right? You're not what Elon Musk tried to tell people you are.
We're not heroes.
Well,
we think of you as...
You wouldn't say it, but we can say it. And I think what you've been through at the hands of, as you said, Mark, this bullying billionaire is despicable. And it's even more extraordinary that you lost this case. And I'm just very sorry you've had to go through that. But on behalf of all of us, thank you for what you did for those kids, because that's how you should be celebrated. And
We're
you shouldn't
proud
have
of
to
you.
go through
Thank
this
you.
ridiculous nonsense from Elon Musk. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Extraordinary,
Mark,
isn't it?
thanks very
Imagine
much.
doing all that and then having some billionaire calling you that on Twitter.
It was
Ridiculous.
unforgivable, and I think
Outrageous.
it was an injustice.
Yeah.
And I know that you're not appealing, because I know that there's a lot of money on the other side, isn't there? And so you wouldn't feel necessarily optimistic. But and he apologised in court. It's about as good as it's going to get.
Yes,
isn't
he
it?
withdrew the allegation in court.
Well, that's good of him,
Withdrew
isn't
it
it?
and apologised.
He withdrew an allegation he invented.
Yeah.
I mean, big deal.
I know,
Anyway,
so
thank you both very
Vern,
much.
You're our hero.